fights if people are feeling confident, but I doubt that's going to happen. It'd be fun to watch, though.
Oh, Solar Hunter's watching me. Well, that was weird.
We've got a lot of players jumping out of the battle bus right here. Looks like a nice little diverse spread out of people all around the map.
Interesting. It looks like these first duo here in Rogue are going to head over to containers.
Yeah. Great spot. So the containers, I mean, there are some pallets to be farmed there. You can get quite a little bit of wood for materials. The metal of the containers is not too good of idea to farm. It takes too long. They're actually dropping with another enemy nearby.
Oh, okay.
Instant.
So there you go. That's one player down. That's a free elim.
Got
right
very
there.
aggressive there. He almost should have bailed if he saw the enemy coming in there.
Yeah.
And shouldn't have tried to challenge out, especially since he had a lower drop.
That means there's one more player somewhere hiding in containers. Containers is a scary spot to be in.
It is.
Because if that other player also has a shotgun and they're hiding around a corner or just out of your field of vision.
A lot of areas to hide at in this area. But as we see, these are the pallets I was mentioning, so you can farm quite a bit of wood, but there's not really much of anything else to farm. The containers take too long to farm, and it doesn't give you as much metal as you might think. So I guess they'd come here because it would seemingly be an isolated area with no enemies around, and it'd be a good place to start a match.
You can see them. There was a rift that opened not too far, so someone is rifting around somewhere.
Yeah, and you can tell they're a little paranoid. They're not looting. They're not being efficient with their time here because they're scouting out for the enemy to see if there's someone else nearby. And if we look at the map, actually, in the container area, it doesn't look like Zeke that there's anyone nearby. I think his teammate might have used a rift and bailed.
Yeah, his teammate might have bailed, for sure.
So they are still looking for an enemy, but little do they know that there is no one nearby.
And that's the thing, man, is we kind of talked about it that...
Oh, is it?
Oh, they were on, okay, so he was actually hiding. They were on top of each other. That's why we couldn't see them.
Wow.
Yep. But man, that's the thing, right, is you have to assume...
Right.
Like we talked about it. Everyone in this lobby is an amazing player.
Yeah.
So letting your guard down for even just a second is all that enemy team could need to just instant laser you.
One pump to the face and it's over just like that. So you've got to be on your toes at all times.
Oh, dude. If you look at this llama right here, there's a camel, sorry. There's actually a chest in here, and this thing has like 1,000 HP. Every time I get it, I walk by there and I hear the chest, I'm like...
It's not a bad, and it's not a bad piece of material to be farming either. It gives you quite a bit as well.
It's true.
Even those near the rifts, near those tiki heads, they give you a lot of brick. Very smart for people to drop there initially. Here we see the rift, speaking of which.
Yep.
And they're near Paradise Palms.
I'm gonna land on the hill.
Oh, okay, so they're going to make a landing there. These guys are over near Loot Lake.
Yeah.
Hey, look at these freaking chests just chilling. That's the, I mean, slurp juice? Yeah, dude.
That is, I mean, with slurps now, they've recently changed it, so it gives you 75 health or shield. It will start with your health if you have no health, and then it changes over to your shield for the remaining bit of that slurp.
That's right.
Very, very great healing item now that's in the game.
You know, so many chests on the way.
Very tasty, definitely, indeed.
What do you think it would taste like if you were to drink a slurp juice?
Oh man, dude, you know, I really hope that it's like a little fruity almost.
Yeah. Well, with the shield, like the blue, it reminds me of some kind of blue raspberry flavor. I think it would be pretty good.
Okay. You think it's like a liquid, or you think it's like cold?
It would be something like a slushy, something very cold.
See, we're in agreement. I like this. I like this. So this is NIP. They made it super far last game, hanging out near Loot Lake.
Yeah, and he's trying to, I guess, farm up. I think they're trying to play the late game here. Goes for a snipe. He builds. He saw from far away.
That? So this is the thing. Like, these are good players, right? That's how you know. Because if this was a pub, there's no way that player is like suspecting at all.
Yeah. And everyone is just hyper aware, and we're going to notice that, as I mentioned, like later into the game, when people are building one by ones and they're waiting and they're stalking, people are going to be very aware of where everyone's at, and you'll see a lot of people get picked off. Wow!
Oh, wow. 202-meter headshot.
These players in day 2 are insane with their snipes.
You know what's interesting? We actually saw less snipes from day 1. And
Yeah.
in day 2, we've seen more snipes than in day 1.
They're trying to make up for that lack of snipes in day 1. This is incredible. Can he get another?
Oh, if that had been a little dink, I would have
Isn't it satisfying? So
It really is, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have
202
to-
meters, man.
They're gonna have to.
What a legend. So they're going to
Beautiful.
try and, remember we talked about this. If
That
his
long-
ally can get the revive, there's no points, right? Because
Right.
it has to be on elimination.
Yeah, definitely was worth it to go for that shot, I'd say, because they have to waste their healing items, their mini shields, their bandages if they have some to heal up. And you know they're going to be caught off guard. Now they're on the defensive. They're trying to run away. They clearly don't want this battle. They're trying to survive. The enemy team is probably going for that Kingpin bonus to survive and get the Victory Royale. So if they can put a lot of pressure or get a couple shots off, maybe they can soften them up for late game. But with the way they're currently running away, I think the enemy team may escape. They're not looking to fight here.
Yeah, and again, it's all about these micro advantages, little things you can do to give yourself an advantage so that you guys can go into the next engagement
Yeah.
and hopefully find those eliminations.
And I think there's two teams here now. I think they got pinched, and this is a beautiful spot. They have the high ground now.
Look at this, fighting on the edge of Dusty. Grenades are coming out. Players are going to start falling. Oh, he managed to secure and build a wall there so he wouldn't fall down.
And now they're trying to take the high ground while one teammate suppresses. Very well done. Now you'll notice these teams are always in sync. You know, oh wow, close up shotgun battle. Bales tries to get the high ground. Very
No
smart.
damage there. Luckily, just happened to just jump at the right angle and dodged every single bullet.
Yeah, very well done.
Where is this guy compared to you?
Right here, right here.
Maybe
right
we
here,
should
on
listen
me.
in.
Let's listen in.
Oh yeah, I see.
On me.
This guy's real low.
Hit 80.
I knocked one.
On me. Like right under. He's hit 80.
Yeah.
Destroy the pyramid.
As you can see, he's trying to place a pyramid of his own. That way the enemy can't place a pyramid, and that way he can make the edit and get through to that other layer down below. But he couldn't place it. The enemy was turbo building, so the pyramid would get placed right away. And now you just saw the enemy replace it, and he makes an edit himself. He's coming up, trying to own the wall, Zeke, as you've talked about. Goes in.
It's another method. Can he find him?
and he
Oh
hits it.
gosh,
Yeah,
there you
let's
go.
go.
So both method guys
I'm
are
on
out
it.
right now.
Wow.
And look at this. They couldn't find that elimination, so he's going. Goofy is going to be revived.
Right.
That means they're not going to get that point.
And what we saw there is this guy trying to place a pyramid down, not for any purpose other than so the enemy couldn't place his own pyramid. That way he could make an edit and go down to the next layer. It was very, very smart, high-level play there. But unfortunately, he couldn't get that pyramid down. But they still got the execution, or the elimination, which is impressive.
Definitely over to Lunar Airwalks and Solar Hunter. These guys are currently in our 8th spot, I believe. Doing okay.
Yeah, and what you'll notice is a lot of these teams are in sync. And it's rare to find one person shooting, the other one just wandering off. They always time it in sync, and that's what you want. You don't want to be focused on 1 versus 2. You don't want it to be one person focused on 2 players at any time.
Yeah. And it's a testament to duos, right? You know, it's all about coordination. It's not, it's 2 people making decisions and that are cohesive, right? It's not just, hey man, I'm firing. You're like, wait, why did you fire? No, I wasn't ready. I'm not here. I'm not in position. You know, they're very clearly communicating these things.
Yeah, that in sync. Oh wow, goes for the bounce pad play midair.
Okay.
Touches him a little bit with that 24 damage, critical damage.
But his teammate finds the elimination. I think
Nice.
that was both. Yeah. So they eliminated that duo there. So they've got a point each.
Right.
Oh man.
Beautiful.
I love those bounce plays, man. When you bounce and you like fly over someone.
All right.
I can't do them, but they are so awesome to watch.
I don't see them.
Keeping
now.
the high ground here. Spots an enemy. Still builds right back up.
This is Fnatic Power and Jarl. We've seen a lot of Fnatic Power, man. He's such a phenomenal player.
Going for those pop-up shots, and he builds right away. Wow.
Oh no, that was Fiona. No.
Oh.
We saw a lot of Fiona last week.
Yeah.
He's a great player as well.
I got him.
Beautiful.
Oh man.
And you'll notice between each one of his shots, he'll try to build and get the high ground again to get another angle to see the enemy before the enemy can see him. And then he goes for the shot, and then he builds. He goes for the shot, and then he builds. Very smart level of play here.
So Jarl now has 3 elims under his belt. We got to hope that Power has any. Because remember, we have to have 7 eliminations to activate Wrecking Ball for the next game.
Right.
It's very vital. And keep in mind, Razor and Broken PSN from last game activated Wrecking Ball. They were the only team to activate that via the 7 eliminations. And then Atlantis, Mitro, and Kinzel have that Kingpin bonus.
Yeah.
So these are some of those wide shots we talked about.
Yeah. Wow, and looks like a battle going on here. There's 2 players down on each team, so it's a 1 versus 1 currently.
It's Lei.
He drops down, same level. I think
Oh, he secured the
he
elim.
secured it. Yeah. And there's another team launch padding in, if I'm not mistaken. I heard a launch pad possibly, so they do need to be aware once they're done with this battle, enemies could have the high ground, and it could be over for all of them on the low ground.
Do you think it was a Solary and Airwax there? Lunary and Solary? I mean, we saw them up on the cliff side over there. We can see their outlines through the... Yeah, look.
There is yeah, you're right. They're throwing explodes down, and if they're smart, these players at the bottom will disengage and try to build up and avoid everything and just maybe disengage entirely because they're low health.
Oh no, Solary Hunter. We've seen this guy show up and perform. Hunter is a guy that literally does what his name implies. He hunts. He finds people. He finds eliminations. There's another squad.
Right?
There's another duo running over.
It doesn't end. And that's why sometimes it's better to not take engagements, because every engagement you take is a risk at dying and a risk at getting third-partied, fourth-partied, fifth-partied. I mean, there's just the smaller the circle gets, the more likely you're going to run into enemies. The less. So I mean, you shouldn't take as many fights late game.
Nick, look at this. They couldn't find the elimination on Lei. They disengaged the fight. Now the player that was fighting Lei is off, probably fighting another duo.
Yeah.
And look at this. Lei's like, hey, teammate, just crawl over. You're fine.
You gotta take those opportunities when you see them, and that was beautiful right there. Beautiful. And now he's got the minis. He's healing up with bandages.
Dude,
they're in a good position.
Look at this teammate. He drops the bandages before even taking for his own.
Yeah.
That's a real teammate.
I mean, it comes back to like communication and teamwork, as we talked about. I would argue that I would rather like a teammate who can communicate well, who may not be the most skilled at gunplay or the most skilled at building, but as long as that communication and that chemistry is there, I think that can make an ultimate team versus the two best players who don't communicate at all, in a sense.
That's right. Now, do you think, in your opinion, is when you're playing duos, is there a role each person's playing? Are you saying like, okay, hey, you carry a med kit, or are we both carrying med kits? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be smart to divvy it up. You don't want to be carrying like wasting a slot in your inventory for like minis for both of you guys. One person can hold the minis and then drop them as needed if needed.
Oh my gosh, this is Ukes and Reflection. Now, Ukes and Reflection have been two phenomenal players we've seen over the last few weeks. And to see them paired, oh my gosh, this is probably going to be my favorite duo of the day.
And it looks like he's giving up that high ground. There was a little battle going off. He decides to drop down. He can try to get in a build-off, but maybe he's trying to conserve mats. He doesn't have that many.
And you don't really want to be using your metal, right? Not at this stage.
Exactly.
You can, but it's less than ideal.
Yeah, you want to save it for those towers or for those platforms for endgame so no one can knock you down when you're trying to build up really, really high.
So Ukes has 2 eliminations. If I know Reflection, he's at least got some amount, right?
Right. And they want to get out of here. They're both in one situation, and one by one. If an enemy like does 2 C4s there, they're both going to get eliminated in a matter of seconds. And it's good. They do split up.
That's actually an interesting point, because you'd think that in these types of games that you need to be almost glued at the hip with your teammate, but
yeah, and sometimes that's not the best option.
That's right, especially with Splodes. We've seen the double clinger plays where you drop 2 clingers, blow up the wall, and then suddenly it's a burst of damage there.
Exactly, and I think maybe there was a couple more battles going on there, so decide to take an opportunity and disengage and just leave. And look, the enemy still thinks who's on Dusty. They still think they're there, so they played that very well. I think in the circumstance they were in.
For sure.
Live to get eliminated another day.
That's right. This is a Nick A. classic saying. Live to be eliminated another day. That's Fnatic Power. And here you go, man. This is the current map, the overview of where players are. So we see 1 players left alone. You can see the little red triangle there.
And yeah, if we look at Dusty, there's 1 solo and then a duo, and then there's actually 1 in the divot itself. So I mean, there could possibly be some third parties here once some battles happen.
I see 1 guy here.
And that's the enemy.
Yep, they immediately call it out. Do you want to listen in?
Let's listen in.
Okay, let's get him.
Twice. He's alone. 3 shots. 99 damage. 99 damage. Oh, 2 guys.
Just push him.
No, wait.
Push him.
They have to come to us.
Oh my god, I got hit there. Fuck, man.
Goes down. Now it's a 1 versus 2. However, he does have the high ground. He should almost bail or just try to do as much damage as he can from the high ground here. Take full advantage before the enemies try to build up right now. And now they've claimed it, and he is in a bad situation. And he gets one down. 1 versus 1.
That was Atlantis Mitro.
Oh.
They won last game, so what's it? Atlantis Mitchell was gone. That means only his teammate is alive right now.
Mind you, the Storm is chunking for 2 damage. When it closes, it'll chunk for 5 damage per second. Takes it down in the Storm.
There you go. Look at that, yelling, saying, let's go. Power now has 3 elims under his belt. Oh, but look at this. There's just teams everywhere.
Getting third-partied. I mean, he has the Storm on him. He has an enemy to his left. One on top of the Tomato Town little bridge. There's just enemies everywhere.
Oh, Snafu says
that was
power.
They might.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Did they
it
get Wrecking Ball
sounds like
bonus?
they might have Wrecking Ball for next game. That's why they sounded super excited. And honestly, finding that's 7 points on the board. And then next game saying, look, our points are doubled.
Yeah.
That's still a means to celebrate, even if you don't get that Victorial.
Exactly. I mean, that could be huge. That could put them on the board if they're not currently on the board. And now we see that other player.
Oh no, that was canceled. That was the teammate there of Atlantis Mitchell. So that means the guys that won last game are both eliminated.
And what's interesting is they both dropped down to get the loot. One should have almost stayed up and scouted because an enemy could be right here, right now, who has the high ground. Luckily, there isn't anyone, but it's a risky move where you both go down for the loot. Almost one should scout and one should loot.
That's right. Look at this. Again, we're finding the circle near Tomato Town. Now it's going to be on more of the west side, though. Look at just as you look out, you just see structures, 2x1s. It's interesting how duos kind of change the dynamics, right? In solos, it's just a ton of 1x1s,
right?
And in duos, you look out and you're like, that is a metal 2x1. There's no way I'm bringing the whole thing down.
Unless you've got like a ton of C4 or RPGs
or explodes,
or something.
yeah.
But people are more hyper-aware. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, everyone is playing it more safe and smarter late game because they have all their mats. It's all based on skill.
So
everyone has a loadout,
yeah, so we're finding ourselves in the top 16 right now. This is NIP. They went really, really far. I believe they came in 2nd or 3rd last place.
No.
And they're just at the edge of the Storm circle here. I mean, they've got a decent amount of mats. They definitely want to conserve it if they're looking to survive and get the Kingpin bonus. But, I mean, they have 3 kills, at least the player we're currently spectating does. So, I mean, 4 more, and they have the Wrecking Ball bonus, assuming his teammate doesn't have any eliminations. But he probably does.
Look at this. They've got a launch pad if they need to bail out at any time.
Come.
Oh, interesting. Oh, what a gross. And we saw this last game. Someone left a launch pad and a team found it and then were able to utilize it. So they say, look, this is our launch pad. We're going to drop a grenade. We're going to use it, bounce out, and then that's it. No one is able to use it.
No other players can use it and sneak up on them. Very smart play.
That's next level strats, man.
Yes.
Oh, there's someone directly below them in Tomato.
Yeah, same bro.
And this is where pyramids would come into use. Placing a floor, then a pyramid, they'd have to break through 2 layers, and you can really contain the enemy if they're spraying from directly below you.
It looks like they're trying to do the same thing with the ramps.
Yeah, good point.
I know. Team fighting.
Let's listen in.
Yeah.
Does that thing reach?
Under us somewhere? Trying to spam, I think underneath.
I think this doesn't reach.
They may be trying to break it all down.
Don't worry, I have bounce pad.
Oh yeah, they are breaking it down, I think. At least they're moving. I hit one of them for 20.
Come here, come to me. I need mats. How much do you have?
I have
1 HP!
Oh,
wow,
dude.
and I was just about to say, at this stage of the game, it's almost good to kind of, I mean, there's 11 players. That's approximately 5 teams left. It's almost better to just scout out and see where this team is, where that team is. So when you're rotating to the next circle, you know where you can get shot from, and you don't get picked off like that.
Man, that's gotta feel real bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they have any meds because his teammate would have given him some.
1 second in the Storm, and he's a goner. He's got to be very careful.
City Driver and Camo. Oh man, I'm excited to see Camo. We saw Camo 2 weeks ago. Or no, Camo won one of the tournaments for EU a few weeks ago actually. A really great player. Now he's paired with City Driver.
And what we saw right there is he threw a clinger on the wall, and then he shot the wall so the clinger doesn't blow up the wall. Instead, the clinger, the bullets will break the wall, and the clinger does that inside damage against the enemy versus the clinger only breaking the wall and not doing any damage at all.
That's right.
Very next level strategy.
But look at this. Camo's down, but it's all right. They can peel back. They can just res. And look at this. They're inside the storm.
Yeah.
8 players.
And with the storm this small, they're definitely going to want to build up now, get the high ground. They have the mats to do it. If the storm circles out somewhere else, I'm sure they could almost build floors over to it.
Did you see their mats?
They have a lot of
It
mats.
was 995.
Yeah.
What? And I mean, this player here only has 200
200
metal.
in comparison.
It's Snafu. Oh, so Snafu actually eliminated Power not too long ago. They got that snipe. Oh, no, they find Goofy.
Nice, finishes him. The storm is chunking for a lot here. You definitely don't want to be staying in here too long.
Okay.
Oh,
no,
wow.
That was
That
one of those bouncer plays I like to see. Okay. I
You
like
love
the
'em.
advantage. All
Yeah.
right.
And now, Zeke, there's only 5 players in total. 1 goes down.
Oh, Snafu.
Why is City Driver again?
So it looks like City Driver is a little bit going on a little bit of a rampage right now.
Right. It could possibly be a 2 versus 1 versus 1 at this situation.
Look at him there, City Driver.
Was the minis?
Yeah, so look, I believe it is... No. Yeah, it's a 2 versus 1 versus 1 because City Driver and Camel are still alive. They're still up. So I believe one player's below them. Yeah, right there.
And it looks like they're trying to go for the finish rather than like a healing kind of ending where you survive the storm. They are playing very aggressive. And yeah, we can see 4 players left.
I mean, they've got the rockets, right? Like, oh, they used 1 rocket.
They know he's in here. I think.
As the like extra player, okay, so he is. I was gonna say, as the extra player, the extra 1. Do you just wait? Do you try to like chip damage as well? And you saw.
Yeah, and I think you want to use that. There's 2 solo players alive, right? So as one of the solo players, you almost want to use that other solo as a distraction while the players of 2, the team of 2, is focused on him. Otherwise, I mean, 1 versus 2, you're not in a good situation. So you need to make a move here while they're distracted, like right now.
Look at this. They're trying to go for high ground, which is smart.
Yeah. And if you're that other solo player on the map, you should be trying to do something here as well. Because when they get this elimination against this 1 solo who's building off with them, and then they can focus their undivided attention on that 1 other person, and it's not going to be a good time.
And they're going for true high ground. This is something you've talked about, so they just build out a very wide... Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay, dude, anytime... Okay, I wish that... Oh, so
very efficient way to get down, eh?
Yeah, so you build a wall, and then I've seen some people do like floors. We've also seen the ramps, which is good.
And he gets the finish right there with the RPG.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so City Driver has 4 eliminations. You gotta hope that Camo has 3, because if he does... They've activated... no, actually, they got the victory out. Doesn't even matter.
Right.
Kingpin.
That's triple the points for the next match. That means each elimination that they get will be
next
worth...
game.
For next game.